Welcome to Barto Club Corner. Now, the last time I did one of these was 5 months ago, and it was based on log units, which don't even exist anymore. So this time around I'd like to show you something that will definitely be in the game, the Timeskip Strawhats. Now most likely they'll probably just be added into the rare recruit pool. Luffy or Zoro would probably be a 6-star, and everyone would start spending their gems like crazy. But my idea would be slightly different, where you'd actually just get an item in a way similar to maybe the Young Whitebeard event on Japan, or even just a raid or a fortnight, which would give you that evolution material to evolve the basic Straw Hats into these guys. It'd be an interesting way to introduce these characters, which everyone has been waiting for since pretty much the beginning of the game, and allows everyone a chance to get them. But you know, it wouldn't be very easy. It'd be a very difficult raid. You can just like start the game and get them straight away. And you know, Bandai Namco would get their money from gems, from everyone trying to farm it and get the drops, and it would give something for free-to-play players to look forward to in trying to achieve, knowing that even if you don't have any legends, you know, you'll probably get the Timeskip Straw Hats soon. So without much further ado, let's take a look at what my ideas are for the Timeskip Straw Hats. So first up is the Captain Monkey D. Luffy. So as you'll see, everyone pretty much will have Captain ability and special similar to what they have in their free-to-play forms, just souped up to be much more powerful, considering they'll be, you know, a very late game unit. But since they'll be, you know, free-to-play, they wouldn't be super OP, since Bandai Namco wants to spend gems on those legends. So Luffy would boost the attack of all characters by 1.75 and the strength characters by ×2 instead. But as you'll note, he has a sailor ability, which makes his captain ability much more powerful for Straw Hat units. This is because despite the fact that the Straw Hat pirates are, you know, the best Nakamas ever, they don't actually synergize with themselves that well. Like, you know, if you just used all the free-to-play characters on the same team, they'd be awful. So this is a way to sort of make the team more niche. Like, you'd have to use all the Straw Hats together to be more powerful, but you know, together they're strong. You know, teamwork, Nakama, all that stuff just makes sense that way. So when you're using Luffy as a captain outside of the Straw Hats, he's pretty mediocre, but pretty much a 3.5 times attack boost for everyone except for himself, where he boosts himself ×4. And his special is the same as Gear 2, except for the fact that it boosts all attack by 1.5 for a turn. You know, pretty decent, not too crazy. I mean, he's already got pretty good HP and really strong attack, so I didn't want to make him too overpowered. So, you know, even if you don't use him as a captain, you could use him as a beat stick in other teams. I think he'd all around be a pretty strong character. Sort of like how Gear 2 was earlier in the game, but kind of became obsolete, so this is the way to make him more up to date. Up next we have the coolest guy in the Straw Hats, Zoro. I kept his captain ability the same because, you know, it was pretty broken already to begin with. And Zoro isn't really a leadership character, so he wouldn't get much better at being a leader than he was pre-Timeskip, so that makes sense. Stat wise, he got a boost, 1500, just like Luffy, just slightly weaker. That's how I consider him in an anime and manga, Luffy being slightly stronger than Zoro. And as you know, his sailor ability is that he counts as a Timeskip Straw Hat, meaning that he gets a boost from Luffy. And his special is a souped up version of his Zoro's form, but like all the other effects, he'll get a massive boost to it if he's in a Straw Hat team. This will be a trend of all the other units, so it'll be more about picking what Straw Hats you want to use. Like, your team will be boxed into just using Straw Hats, but you'll still have a variation. There are 9 of them in total, so you'll have a little fun picking which ones you want to use for each mission. Overall, just like Zoro, he'd be pretty strong, good captain ability, powerful special if you use it in the team, but could be used out of other teams as a beat stick. Next is Sanji, and now his captain ability isn't trash, putting it on par with Zoro's. I mean, arguably he's not on the same tier as Luffy and Zoro, but you know, they're known as the monster trio of the Straw Hats, so I thought it's fair that he was put on par with Zoro in the game. That said, he has slightly less attack than Luffy and Zoro, but makes up for it with a bit more HP and a bit more RCV, which makes sense since he's a chef and stuff. Which links into his special, which now heals you for the number of Straw Hats on the team. Or, you know, maybe it could be number of females on the team. Either way, it would make thematic sense for the Sanji, but you know, I think this is a pretty strong special. The 5000 fixed damage is now kind of just a extra bonus on the thing. The cherry on the sundae that would give to the Straw Hats. That was all planned. And he would be one of the choices you'd have to think about before going on a mission with a Straw Hat team. Like, do you need a healing, or would you rather use one of the other effects of the Straw Hats? Next up is Tony Chopper, and just like his base forms, his captain ability is rubbish. I mean, they can't all be good. There had to be some stinkers somewhere, just like Bandai Namco makes them. So all he does is boost RCB by 2 for everyone. But you know, his stats are decent: 2000 HP, 1250 attack, and a good amount of RCB as well. But he is the orb manipulator for the team, and a pretty powerful one at that. He just straight up gives you a matching orb, but you know, only for the Timeskip Straw Hat, so he can only really be used for this specific team that you make. So his stats and captain ability are decent at best, but his special makes him mandatory sort of for the team. I mean, they can't all be Doflamingos, come on. Also, I just made him a quick unit just so there's a balance of at least 2 being quick. And he would evolve from any of the chopper evolutions, since you know there's like 5 of them. Next is the cat burglar Nami, and she probably is the worst one of the batch. Much like how she is in the story. She has one of the lowest attacks and HPs, but pretty big RCV stat if you're going to use that. And her captain ability now boosts HP as well as RCV and attack, but it's still pretty low at 1.5 times. And her special does some int damage and then does about 18% of their max HP if you're using a full Timeskip Straw Hat team. I don't want to make it too OP because, you know, it's Nami, she isn't supposed to be very strong, but you know, if you want to use something like this, it's not too weak, but you probably want to use someone else.
Ow!
Next up is Robin. She pretty much has the same effect as Nami for captain ability, except it does it for Psi instead of int. And her special reduces Bind and Despair by 3 turns like it does already, but now reduces the CDs of other specials by the number of Straw Hats. So you get a massive -5 cooldown reduction to all your other specials. So I don't think too hard about the cooldowns of everyone's special, but they'd be reasonably long, so hers would be quite short and allow you to use Zoro's or Luffy's much earlier if you're doing something like a raid, which doesn't give you much time to stall. Her stats are mildly stronger than Nami's, and too bad she's not a liability or anything, but isn't top tier compared to someone else on the team. Up next is Brook, and now he boosts slashes by 2.25 times attack. Not too bad, but you know, you'd probably have Mihawk, so you never use him as a captain, but he's not too bad. His HP is really strong, his attack is not bad. But his special would boost orbs by 1.25 plus another 0.25 for every 2 Straw Hats, meaning a total of ×2. Again, it'd be pretty essential considering most teams are built around boosting everyone's attack and then orbs as well. He'd have the highest orb boosting, tied with Doflamingo, but he'd only be able to be very powerful in this team, or maybe if you want to use only 2 or 3 Straw Hats, he'd still be pretty good, 1.5 at least for other teams. But is at its strongest when put together with all the other Straw Hats, just as planned. Up next is Franky, who I think probably is maybe the strongest in the Straw Hats if you don't consider the monster trio, and therefore he boosts 3 spirit characters by 2.25 times now, and has pretty strong stats, having quite high attack and very strong HP. I mean, he's an android, you could turn into a giant robot, so I think he'd have high attack and HP. And his special reduces bind duration by 5 times, but rather than randomizing orbs, now it reduces the damage taken by 15% for every Timeskip Straw Hat on your team. That's a 90% damage reduction if you have 6 Straw Hats on your team, which is very powerful, but again only works if you're putting it in a Timeskip Straw Hat team. Again, kind of niche like Sanji, when you need a damage reducer you might want to just go full out damage, so he's something to consider, but not always necessary if you're making a team with these guys. And last but not least, Usopp, the most powerful Straw Hat of all time. Except, you know, you'd have to evolve him from Sogeking, since GPU actually isn't the final evolution. He has the lowest attack of the Straw Hats, but the highest RCV and decent HP, and his captain ability is nothing special, but everyone uses the Usopp for one thing, his special. So how do you make his special, which is already pretty strong and one of the best specials in the entire game, even stronger? With the power of friendship. So now after you've used it, at the max CD of 10, it would be reduced by the number of Straw Hats in the team, so that would be at best 6, reducing the cooldown to 4. So in most situations it'd be just as strong as GPU, but if you're doing a really long island, say island to get a ship, getting the cooldown to just 4 it would be very powerful, but niche enough that, you know, isn't completely OP, you can't use it in every situation. And since you can only really use it in Timeskip Straw Hat teams, you can't abuse it with healer captains, you know, just keep healing and delaying forever. So pretty powerful, but not dementedly so, and keeping him as one of the most powerful units as tradition because he is Usopp. All hail Usopp. So that was my idea for the Timeskip Strawhats. I'm sure you have your own ideas of what they should be. Maybe they all should be legends, that'd be pretty cool. Maybe they should all be free, they just give him the box, that'd be amazing. Let me know in the comment section below what your ideas are for them. Please like and subscribe if you like this video as well. And I'll see you next time, my Nakama!